We are all familiar with the running infected of Left 4 Dead, and even the heisty hijinks of Payday. Now replace zombies and police forces with scavens, kill me. Then add in a ridiculously addictive fluid combat system and dice rolls with mountains of loot, and you get Vermintide. Now when they say Vermintide, they're not freaking kidding. Lots of bloodthirsty, craven, unwashed mutant ratmen want nothing more than to take you and your meddling friends and put your multiracial heads on their barbecue spits. It's ridiculously beautiful. So what's the story here? Why are you fighting hordes of ravenous man-sized rats and their unholy mutant offspring? Well, I'm going to sum this up as best as I possibly can. For plot reasons, you and your companions find yourselves inside the Red Moon Inn during the start of a full-blown Skaven invasion during the end times of the Warhammer Fantasy Battle universe. You and your reluctant battle bros have to provide the only line of defense that the seemingly doomed city of Ubersreich seems to have against tens of thousands of the little bastards. Seriously, you go throughout the entire city and everyone is dead. Super dead. Except for the pigs. The pigs are still alive. Maybe Skaven don't like bacon. Anyway, seems pretty bleak, right? Well, it is. Welcome to Warhammer. Don't worry though. Fatshark has provided you with a plethora of different ways to avoid being an all-you-can-eat buffet for rat ogres. You've got shotguns, crossbows, Zweihanders, flaming swords, rifles, like 5 different types of pistols, rapiers, axes, shields, longswords, hatchets, longbows, fire staffs, and warhammers. Get it? And don't worry, the devs didn't skimp on any of the brutal combat that comes with a Warhammer game. You're going to be chopping heads, arms, and limbs of all types with your arsenal of weapons. And let me tell you, very few games send me into a gleeful state of vicious rat-killing frenzy quite like this one. Oh, delicious. Now, sweet sexy combat doesn't sell you on this game, and trust me, there's a 10-ton bag of it here. You've got absolutely beautiful environments and an incredibly creepy soundtrack from Jesper Kid that really draws noobs and veterans of the universe into this unyielding, savage blood orgy of serious intensity. Honestly, the varying locations in the game are actually quite impressive, and the amount of detail that has been sprinkled into each level is absolutely mind-boggling. City squares with statues of the Empire's heroes, a giant gate with an ornate skull dedicated to the god Moor, and a skeleton in the form of the Thinker. Yeah, that's right, I like that one. There is even a map called the Wizard's Tower that showcases abstract level design, with upside-down hallways and bookshelves, and even a room that transforms based on the character you are playing. A swampy forest for Carillion, a gold room for the dwarf, etc., etc. Honestly, you don't often see this type of creativity in today's game space. The final feature that is worth mentioning in the game is the loot system, which is simplistic but adds a lot of replayability to the game's 13 levels. Essentially, after each mission, you're given experience and an opportunity to roll for loot. Now, depending on the difficulty, you have better chances for rare loot. Now, this loot can also be used in future games. Greens are uncommon and always have one lock special ability to them that you can unlock by using little stones you get by salvaging other equipment you don't use or need. Blues are rare and have 2 upgrades. Oranges are basically legendary, and I've yet to see anything higher than those. It should also be noted that you can obtain loot by leveling up and by fusing 5 weapons into a stronger weapon. Personally, I like the system because it doesn't weigh itself down with making you collect crafting resources or certain materials. You get a weapon, you use a weapon. If you don't like the weapon, you fuse the weapon and get a better weapon. So, simple. I'll admit, I've been jacking this game pretty hard, so now I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that could use some improvements. First off, Graphical Tearing. It's everywhere, and while it's not really that big of a deal, to me anyway, I know some would find it wildly annoying, because it happens a lot. Getting stuck on stairs. It happens a lot. On every level. You'll be walking up a staircase, and then it's like your character is unable to move up any further. It could just be a step on the street that just completely impedes your movement. It's only 2 centimeters, yet still it's blocking you from moving higher. And the only way to move up higher is to jump over it. It's a minor annoyance, but still, it's incredibly distracting in the midst of combat. The difficulty levels seem kinda random. Sometimes a normal level will be super easy. Other times it can be mind-numbingly hard. I think this is partially because of the various special enemy types that have a nasty habit of spawning at inopportune times. For example, a rat ogre right after you just killed a rat ogre. Or 4 pack masters charging out of an open door and grabbing the whole team at the same time. Unfortunately, I don't have footage of these particular instances, but trust me, they happen. Just random things like that, which they almost seem kinda cheap after you've trudged through a 30-minute level. Another complaint, the AI teammates are press-stoppingly dumb. Don't get me wrong, when it comes to combat, they're practically unstoppable and can be just as useful as a human teammate. But God forbid if you go down, because they will not pick you back up. I know this game is meant to be played with people, but still, it's worth noting. I know these seem like minor nitpicks, but honestly, after about 25 hours with the game, I have no major complaints. It's a hell of a lot of fun, and it's arguably one of the best Warhammer games on the market. And despite my initial reservations, I actually find it way more fun than Left 4 Dead. And even then, with how the game is set up and the absolutely painful cliffhanger ending, there is most certainly more to come. My recommendation? Greenskins. Chaos. More characters to play with. More ways to chop Skaven heads off, please. And can there just be a map that's an endless Last Stand-esque level, please? Please? To sum up, Warhammer End Times Vermintide is a blast, and a perfect co-op experience for fans of Left 4 Dead, Payday, or just plain Warhammer fans in general. Now excuse me while I go murder me some more Skaven scum.